start your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Drastic. So yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Toni Harris Taylor. Drastic. So oh yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Yeah.
Hey there, it's Toni Harris Taylor with another fabulous author of the Lead Loud Entrepreneurs Building Legacy Through Drastic Leadership, Mr. Sam Knight. Sam, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be co-authoring with you today, Tony.
Awesome. Congratulations. It's your first book, first time being an author.
Never thought I'll see it.
And we're grateful for technology because we don't have to write it all out anymore. We can just do it the easy peasy way. So, in your own words, Sam, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Oh, I'm Sam Knight. I'm native of Baltimore, Maryland, and what I do is I help entrepreneurs in the food and beverage industry or franchising or hospitality in general get the equipment they need to succeed. It's specifically food and beverage, commercial food and beverage, kitchen equipment.
Oh, okay, very good. And so, how did you start that? Like, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
COVID. So I always wanted, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I don't like having limits. I don't like being capped at income. I don't like being limited to how much I can take care of my family, my loved ones, because expenses do not seem to be capped. So it makes sense, no sense for income to be capped. But during COVID, being stuck inside the living room for about 2 years, I realized there's a lot of things about my life I've been trying to escape and not face. Um, Before COVID, here comes the weekend. Forget about everything. Have fun. Monday, go back to work. When there was nowhere to go, I had to face the fact there were some things I didn't like. And I said to myself that if I'm going to be stuck in here with nowhere to go, something good's going to happen. And that's when I ended up starting my business, Cafe 30.
So I know you didn't start off with restaurant equipment. You started off with coffee machines,
As
Cafe 33. Where'd that name come from? And why coffee machines?
All right. So I started off studying drop shipping. So, I needed a skill. So I was into the drop shipping community, high ticket drop shipping, and the market research. And without being too nerdy, but search engine optimization, keywords, et cetera, et cetera. I made a list of 100 things that cost over $2,000 that's drop shippable. So that led me to 50 something things. I like coffee. I like drinking coffee. I love coffee. And espresso machines at the time, if you did a keyword search, it was over 230,000 searches a month. And it was
Mm,
only about 20 or less competitors in that venue. So I said I'm going to go for coffee machines. I'm going to go for espresso machines. The website and everything, like yourespressomachines.com was my first website because it fit the keyword with about a 250,000 views a month. So that's how that started. But it didn't end that way. I realized I was that niche was cool. The machines, the coffee grinders, etc., the coffee roasters. But then a lot of the manufacturers I was working with also had access to other kitchen equipment. And then it
mhm.
made sense like to span out and offer more than just coffee machines because I was in the food and beverage industry equipment.
And you also evolved into hotel safes.
Yes. So we so creatively, I wanted to do another store. I was like, well, if I could do that with kitchen equipment, I could do that with whatever else. And then I looked around. I looked at the environment. For example, Maryland. It has not been Second Amendment friendly for a long time. We had Governor Hogan who allowed us to exercise our constitutional rights. So we have like record numbers of African Americans owning guns in
Mhm.
Maryland and Baltimore. Now, some people think that's scary, but I saw it was an opportunity, and, and people had guns in Baltimore anyway. For those who know, so I was like, let me try, let me try the gun safes, and it also had good SEO and everything else. But the gun safes also led to them saying, "Hey," one company asked, "Why don't you try the hotel safes?" I said, "Whoa, that could do bulk sales with hotel safes as opposed to selling like one safe for like $800. I can move 800 safes into a hotel and make a lot more money." So that's how that
Yeah.
came about. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I see that you are the type of leader that sees the opportunity and seizes the opportunity. And
Yes.
so that's great. Now you work with franchises. How'd that evolve?
So I took some coaching. It got to a point, and I believe it started off with NIA. I tried doing the drop shipping thing with ads, paid advertisement. I was doing good for a while. Shopify shut down my store because I bought in like 30,000 in like a month. They didn't understand. By the time I hopped back on board, the algorithm no longer worked. The big companies, I'm not going to say their name, but the big companies were destroying me. So I realized I had to network. That's how I met Toni. That's how I met you. That's how I was introduced to NIA, and some great progress was made. I decided to pay for coaching to take myself to the next level. And I learned, I was introduced to the world of franchising. I believe it's Drastic Results Financing, in helping disadvantaged groups or minority groups, as they're called, get involved into owning different things, and not just McDonald's and Wendy's, but there's a bunch of
Correct.
other franchises we didn't know about, and it's just a smart way to scale. So if I talk to someone who owns a franchise and they opening up 5 locations, and we do a copy and paste style with kitchen equipment, that's a lot of money coming in. That's a system that's being developed that can lead to more money and more success in the future.
Yeah. So that led to you networking in the franchise space, networking in the hotel space. Look at you. Look, restaurants. I'm so proud of you. And thank you for trusting me with your business. So, you define leadership. And what does it mean to lead loud?
I define leadership as taking the initiative. That's it. Now, I, I also say that the only requirement to be a leader is to have a follower, but start off by following yourself. And what I believe lead loudly mean is that it is strange, it stands out for somebody to have initiative in a world where we were trained to have an occupation and be employed. Like, for those who don't know, being employed means you sit around doing nothing till somebody tells you what to do.
Mhm.
Occupy
And
time.
and pay you what they think you're worth.
They think you're worth. So being trained in the public school system, to sit around until somebody employs me with a task to occupy my time so that I can call it a living, which means my whole entire existence is based around doing something other people tell me to do. Leading loudly as an entrepreneur means to tell yourself what to do, pay yourself what you want to be paid, and determine which direction your life is going to take, and saying, I don't care what the public school system say or how I was raised and trained. This is how I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. So tell us about a moment when you had to take a drastic step to grow as a leader, and what did you learn from that?
This that's a lot of drastic stuff. So I don't. I would say like the first one was during COVID. Um, I was a juvenile probation officer for the state of Maryland,
Mm,
and they sought to have us come back to the office. They wanted me, a kid that was in detention was had signs of COVID, yet they wanted me to transport that kid in a state car with COVID. Now I have my own child. My child I think was probably 4 or 5 back then, to his parents' house. The parents did not even want their kid back because he's that hard headed. And I said, I'm not going to expose myself to COVID for anything. But the judge said so. There was a judge involved. They went to headquarters, and I told them I'm not doing it. And I said it respectfully in the office. There's no way you're going to get me to get sick and pass it on to my family. I'm not doing it. And then once it got to like the director and they had some stuff to say, I respectfully typed in my resignation.
wow.
I resigned.
I
I
don't
resigned.
think I've ever heard this story, sir.
I resigned. I flat out quit. I was like, here's my 2 weeks notice. I did not have another job laid out. I was like, I'm just going to find a way to work for myself for a while. And I was self-employed for about a year or so. And then on top of that, when I received my pension, the course to teach me how to do e-com and develop my own site cost like $6,000, which for me was a lot of money, especially just quitting my job on the spot. So I took a portion of my pension out, and let me add to it. I had a divorce, so I didn't even get half my pension anyway.
Oh my
So the
gosh.
pension was cut in half anyway.
Oh
Right?
my gosh.
And then I took about $6,000 out of that, and I invested in myself, and that's how I ended up learning how to do drop shipping, which led to deals with manufacturers, which led to me working with franchises.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I've known you 3 years now. I don't think I ever knew that story. It's amazing what happens when you just have a conversation with somebody. But that, sir, was drastic in the middle of probably one of your biggest life challenges as well,
Yes.
going through a divorce. Wow.
Hmm.
So let's legacy. Legacy, are you intentionally building with your business?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like I said before, I have a son. I would like to have more kids. Not only that, but I have very traditional values. I believe as a firstborn son, I ought to take care of my parents. You know, my parents are getting older. I don't believe we should just send them over to nursing homes if you can help it. So, I want to establish a legacy of taking care of your family, taking care of your people. I grew up in an area that's a food desert as a child. I go back to my old community. It is even worse food desert now. I want to leave a legacy of, I would say, making out the hood, but whatever, making it out of a bad area, exceeded expectations, and then going back and being the solution, instead of a complainer. So I want to set the example for my family, for my friends, and I also want to go back and I want to fight food deserts without, because I have the power to do so now. It's not just a matter of complaining about the councilman. It's this is what I can do to help people eat healthy food again. And yeah, that's it.
Remind me at the end of this to tell you about a franchise that can help you with that. So awesome, awesome. That's a huge legacy. You educated me on food deserts because I had no idea what that was. And so I can see that Cafe 33 will definitely be a profitable business that will be able to give back to those in need, to help them to be able to eat. And it just makes your business full circle. So I love that. What core values drive your decision as a business owner and a leader?
So core values that drive my decisions, one is integrity. We all heard the phrase "all money is not good money." Even to this day, I will not receive business that I believe is bad business. Now, how can bad business be when you're selling kitchen equipment? I believe in exchanging value for value. If I would not sell something to someone that they can't afford, that doesn't benefit them. So, for example, I had a client that needed a certain type of equipment in order to uh, pass the permitting process, but they
Mm-hmm.
want to save money and get something that they don't qualify for. Hey, they said we ready to buy now. The equipment was about $10,000, and I was said no. I said no, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather have good stories. I want the story of success. I don't want money in the bank in a lot of bad stories. So integrity is a major value that I go off of. It has to be a win-win. And if there's a third win, a win-win-win. A win for the community, win for my clients, win for myself.
Awesome. Awesome. I love integrity. And you're right. All money is not good money. And to be in a position to say no, um, and sometimes you have to say no when you need the money, right?
Yes, that's
But that's where it's really integrity.
yep, yep.
So, how has your leadership impacted your family, community, and industry?
So it's affected my family because there's not too many entrepreneurs in my family. Really, I can't think of any. But there were people in my family that's ambitious, right? So the first ambition was go to college. I was one of the first people in my family to get a full scholarship. Went to a historically white school, Gettysburg College, is one of
Hmm.
the top liberal arts colleges. But then I realized that path didn't work. To go to school, get good grades, and everything leads to debt.
Sure.
A bad leads to bad debt. So my family is more financially literate now because of the conversations we have is starting to change. More open-minded, more willing to use creativity. The same thing with my friends. We have mastermind groups now. So instead of being on the block talking about gossip and nonsense and what we did at whatever club when we was younger, now we're getting together. Some of my friends are in their mid 30s or early 40s. Now we have the mastermind groups talking about how can we use our skill set and our gifts and our talents to increase our income and how we can help our children out and everything. So it's been a very positive thing. Somebody had to lead, somebody had to do it first, and they say, hey, look, if he can do it, we can do it. Or he made it without my help. Now he has credibility. Let me listen. That happens too sometimes. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Awesome. 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 I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Um, okay. What core values drive your decisions as a business owner and leader? So we talked about integrity.
Exactly.
What
Yes.
else?
So also decision is efficiency. I want to squeeze, time is limited. So I want to work on only the things that's going to have the greatest return on my time investment. So if some all right, let's say people come to me wanting to do business, and I'll talk to anybody, I'll help out anybody. But the person who is the closest to, I have this plan laid out, I have my blueprint set out, I have the type of equipment I need, I know what type of electrical requirements that I have. Like those are the people that I would prioritize working with, as opposed to the person with a dream about how much money they can make and how great the
Mhm.
restaurant's going to be, and you should invest in, et cetera. So I'm big on efficiency, and then doing sales is like the way you can make more money in 1 hour is just by getting more done in an hour, and that only happens by doing what has the most value in the least amount of time without sacrificing quality. So I do my decisions, my business decisions based on that a ton. Efficiency
Oh,
is major.
okay. Very good. Very good. So, was it a time you wanted to give up, and what kept you going?
Absolutely, absolutely, because it was like I'm wanting. So I learned that the business I'm in is a slow deal. I used to sell life insurance, and I still can sell life insurance. When I was selling life insurance, you can get paid the same day. You get paid the next day. You get paid in 3 days. The money is always flowing. So drop shipping sells this dream of you just sit back, make a website, do nothing, and the sales just don't they? And the sales just come in, and I made $40,000 this month sitting down at the beach looking at my phone, and people come in, and that's not how it works. So I learned that with these sales, which I mean, net is usually around $20,000 or more, but it takes months and hours to go through these different steps. Sometimes, and especially in today's environment where people don't know how much it will cost to ship the materials from one country to the next, like funding comes, funding goes, rules change. It's a long sale process. So it tries patience, but all the expenses keep coming.
Mhm.
And the give up moment for me is this. I make decent money outside of my business. And I tell myself sometimes, Sam, if you just did what you were taught to do, now that you make a good money on your full-time job, if you did not spend all this money on business expenses, would you not have thousands of dollars saved up? Would you not be able to invest? And it's tempting to say you would have so much money if you didn't spend thousands of dollars more on your business. And then I say to myself, and if I get laid off, then what?
Correct.
It's that false seed of job security.
Correct.
And I go back and I say, well, I had 17 jobs, and I've been through 4 layoffs before I turned 35. So I know from experience, there is no job security. And again, I want that control. Even when I want to give up the alternative, being fired, being laid off, and not knowing what to do is so bad that I'd rather keep investing in myself.
Wow, well said. Well said. And I've heard that before too. Well, if I pay you, I could have used that money to do something else, but you wouldn't have the knowledge, you wouldn't have the connections, the relationships, that will help you in any area of your
Right.
life going forward. And
Right.
so, kudos to you for seeing that investing in yourself is the best investment you can make, and it gives over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, my mantra is all about showing up, right? So, show up.
Absolutely.
So, how have you showed up for your team, your clients, or your network when things get tough?
Wow, that's really good. That's really good. Well, you just gotta make your mind to do it with no expectations. No expectations. Like like most of my network at this point in business is in like Houston, Texas. I live in Baltimore, right? Going back, going to Miami. Sometimes just getting out the house, period, is not necessarily convenient. Especially, and I must be specific to myself. I'm likely not going to meet someone that says, "You know what I need right now? Well, I need 3 commercial fridges."
Hmm,
So you can't show up thinking you're going to sell. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself. You don't show up trying to take and trying to get. You show up trying to give, and if you show up trying to give, there's always a reason to show up. And then when you give, somehow, some way, it's returned, right? But if I went to sell, I'll be really hard pressed to show up to meetings after work, after cooking dinner for my kid, after being tired all day. Going to Houston to talk to folks if I'm thinking, well, ain't there's nobody here is buying a restaurant anyway. Like, no, you show up to give, you always have something to give, and then you will be blessed. And that's how things were working, and that's why I keep reminding myself, what can I give?
that's right. And every time you may not get it from the same direction, but it's
Hmm.
just, it's it's a universal principle. The more you give, the more you receive. And so when you show up with a giving mindset, somehow you always receive.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you have embraced that as well. So, what's the best leadership lesson you've learned from failure or rejection?
Hmm. I think, but there's plenty of failures.
No.
Uh, so nobody like to talk about the failures. All right. Oh, I'll give you one. So back to when I left the job. So things were going well. I was selling life insurance, and I was taking life insurance money, and I was investing into the e-com business, as well as my retirement. Right. Um, and I was going back and forth with court because of the whole divorce thing in custody. So I was paying lawyers. So all this money was coming out. So since I've been trained to work for someone, it never really occurred to me until real time because I was doing well part time working for myself. But I did not understand how much my salary was supporting my business. I didn't realize it until I found out. Like, wow, buy leads or pay rent. But if I don't buy leads, I can't pay rent. But if I don't pay rent, I might get evicted. This is the second eviction notice. And then my car broke down.
Mm,
And the method I was using was you buy the leads, you send out the mailers, you knock on the door, you walk through the door, you sell people on the spot. So I definitely learned how to sell. It takes somebody to go to somebody so unannounced, walk in there and get their social security number and health information and sign them up. That's a lot of work,
wow.
right?
Wow.
But when my car broke down and some of my mentors at the time just like disappeared, especially ones that, oh, you don't need the job, you don't need this. And as soon as my car broke down, I'm sitting there trying to find a way. I learned several lessons because obviously I'm back on my feet. Eventually, my lights got cut off. I sat on my mother's couch for like 45 days. But then the e-com business selling three coffee roasters helped me to pay everything off.
Wow.
And that was when I took my last $300 and I was like, do I put it on my gas electricity or do I run ads? And I took the $300, ran ads, and made $20,000. It paid off
Wow.
the move back in. But the one lesson I learned is that I never want to be poor again. Like that emotional, like if being poor is a theory, I'm not saying, oh yeah, I can't get the iPhone that I want poor. I mean, you and your son is on your mother's couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like nobody cares about you in America when you don't have any money, right? It's like with 50 Cent had an album called Get Rich or Die Trying. And it's just like if you were never poor, you think he was being greedy. And it's just like, no, I would rather die before I'll be poor again. There's nothing
Right.
that stop me from working. So that's one lesson that I learned. And then number two, I learned what and I believe in the scriptures, the Bible says your gifts will make room for you. Right? It was so stressed out I had nothing but my imagination. I learned how to make other websites. I
Mm.
was in DC selling food at tables at markets. Didn't know I could do that. I would go network. I was actually networking, saying, "Hey, do you need a web? I see you have a table. Do you have a website? Oh, this is a nice product. Do you have a website? Making websites for folks, finding people on Craigslist." So I learned that the money comes from your mind, not a job, not a business, not a lead, not a company. The money comes from the imagination in you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Love it. Thanks for sharing. You are revealing a bunch of stuff right now that you and I have not talked about in private. So I'm really getting to know you better. So how's being a part of the Network in Action and the Drastic Results community helped you lead louder?
It helped me lead louder because there's accountability aspect. It's the checking in when you don't check in. It's the consistency. It's recording your points. It's
Mm.
talking to people that one may feel has nothing, may not be able to ever help you out. But it also proves that there are like-minded people out there.
Yeah.
It gives hope because if if I stayed, and this could be most people, if you stay with your friends and your family and you're trying to be something that's not your friends or your family, if you're trying to say be financially independent, but there's no financially independent people in your family, it's easy to feel like I'm the only one. There is no
Yeah.
support. There's no one I can talk to. So NAA proves that there's plenty of people that are like you, that look like you and are like you as well, and also want you to do well. It, that's motivation, and it's validation to keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, who inspired your leadership style and what qualities from them do you embody now?
I would say Jesus. Jesus inspires my leadership style. He is a servant leader. There's different types of leaders. And there's people who have so-called leadership positions that's not leading. For example, on a job, you have a supervisor. A supervisor is just that they look over. That's not leading. They look
Right.
over, and you have managers, which to me is a step up because it implies a hands-on organization of teams, as opposed to just looking at people and say, "Hey, you missed a spot." That's a supervisor, a manager. You do this, you do this, you do this. A leader cleans up, like Jesus washed the feet of his disciples, and say, "If I did this, then you know what you need to be doing." Right? A leader does the work and they have people follow. So that inspires my leadership. I wouldn't ask anybody to do anything that I have not already done or I'm not willing to do. If I tell somebody you need to invest in yourself, some people I mentor younger people. It's in me from when I was a juvenile case worker, a juvenile probation officer. It's like I like to help younger people. So if I didn't invest in myself to the point it's uncomfortable, how can I tell somebody else to do so? If I don't read, how can I tell somebody else to read? So Jesus'
Right.
leadership of being the example first and then have people follow the example is what inspires my leadership style.
Awesome. What drastic moves or unconventional strategies help you to stand out or grow your business? Drastic moves.
Ooh, drastic moves. How we stand out. I don't. People
Okay,
might
let me
say
let me help you. Let me help you.
with this because to me it's normal, but some people wouldn't do some of the stuff that I do. Help me out.
You just returned from a conference you never would have had the courage to go to. Travel. Come on
Yes,
now.
yes, that's true. Even the Asian American conference last year. I spent
Right.
like and then it's talking, yeah, I guess for me I guess I normalized it. I and I'm an introvert, by the way, but I will go to an Asian American conference. I would go to the Black Culture Owners Conference. I overheard conversations in the lobby, and the conversation went like this. And really, $1 million is not even enough to get you anywhere over here in the Bahamas, and everybody's shaking their head like that's normal conversation. Well, for them, it's normal conversation, right?
Mhm.
There was a time where I would have said, "There's no in the world these multimillionaires who give me the time of day. I'm not even going to bother." I will. How did it get the manufacturing contracts? I'm writing emails from my living room with my laptop to companies that are international billion-dollar companies saying you should let me market your 10,000, 25,000, $30,000 equipment. But when and some said no, but you only need a handful. But when they say yes, that builds the confidence to talk to anybody else. So I'm just saying, so that's drastic. Going to people that most people are intimidated by, billion-dollar corporations, manufacturers, hotel owners, going directly to the president of the organization, not the lady or the guy at the front desk,
Right.
and asking for a meeting and asking to do business and asking for a deal, even if your net worth is nowhere looking like theirs, is pretty drastic.
Mm. And I see you doing it, and it is starting to pay off. And I promise you, you just keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I belong here, right? You belong in that room. And because you have value to give, even if, you're not sure, even if you're not sure what the value is, you keep showing up in those rooms. So I'm very proud of you. So, what advice, this plays right into the next question, what advice would you give someone who feels like they're playing small in leadership?
Keep letting you just do it. Just do it. Stop thinking and do it. And the reason why I can say stop thinking is because you know what to do. You don't have to think about what to do. If you need to call somebody, if you need to show up to the meeting, if you need to do your taxes, if you need to get an LLC, we know what to do. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's just the lack of getting it done. Stop thinking and just act and see
Yeah.
what happens. It's like the
Yeah.
best advice I can give. Just do it.
Yes.
It's easier. It's the same amount of energy. It's easier to do it and have stuff change than it is to sit there for months thinking about it and nothing happens
Yeah.
at all. Whether it's a yes or no, figure it out. It's gonna be yes. It's gonna be no. Get your yes or your no over with and move on. The stress will just dissipate.
Oh, wow. That's say that again.
Get your yes or your no out the way, and the stress will dissipate.
Correct. You will not die.
You will not die. You for sure won't die.
You will not die. Awesome. So, how are you helping others rise as you rise?
Oh, that's a great one too. So I always like to connect people, and I didn't make that up. I learned from my coach. I like to connect people to other people. So even with the business that I have with the kitchen equipment, I was like, you know what? People have a funding need. People need a particular franchise to get involved in. Need people need construction. So it's like, why not build resources alongside what I'm offering, so that when it comes to me, I can save some time and some energy, and or I can connect people that I work beside with clients. So at this point, it's like, all right, if the developer gets paid by building this shop, and the funder get paid by offering this loan, and the I don't know, the point of sale person get paid. I really don't care if they buy the equipment from me or not. People are being helped. Now it is returned though, because if it say, hey, look, I talked to this guy for kitchen equipment. Oh, he has funding options too. So you have to do that, but also sharing the knowledge with other people. There's people for my church, people in the community who think I'm doing well, maybe because they see me on social media. You never know who's watching. That's what I would say. You never know who's watching and saying,
Correct.
wow, you seem to be doing well, even if you don't feel like you're doing well. And you just taking some time out, have some coffee, and finding out what their gifts and their talents are, and bring in their dreams, and it goes and bring it out of them. Which reminds me of the last question. If about them pursuing something that they think is too big. If it wasn't
Sure.
for you, it wouldn't come to mind.
Yeah, exactly. If it
It,
wasn't for you,
it wouldn't come to mind.
it wouldn't even come into your mind. I love that. That's a
Yeah.
social media quotable. Put that down. I don't know. Did you make that up?
I
Did you
just
make
said I just said it off the top I got right now, but it'll forget.
that? If it wasn't for you, it would not have come to your mind.
Yeah.
So we have to move forward.
Hmm.
Now, I have to say, I'm very proud of you because you have become the connector. I referred a client to you. We won't name any names, but I
Right.
referred a client to you, and now you're working with him to help get his funding, which hasn't been easy.
Right.
But you haven't given up. You're helping. That wasn't even a role for you, but we know he's going to use the funding to buy your equipment. So why wouldn't you help him if you could?
Right.
And so I just love that. You are helping others, truly helping others rise as you rise. Keep up the good work. Well, here's our final question, and it's a big one. So if you got to take a second,
Okay.
at your funeral,
Hmm.
what do you want people to remember about you and what you've done?
This is like an abstract answer. But I hope many people, because keep in mind, before I became an entrepreneur, most of my work would be in the realm of social work,
Sure.
with nonprofits and stuff. I would like for people to remember how I've positively impacted their lives, right? So even if it's the kids who would have been dead or in jail, but now the managers at like a pizza spot with a wife and kids, or if it's someone who never like worked for other people, but now they got infinite ways to serve people and get paid for it. I want people to remember how I individually made their lives, added value to their lives and impacted their lives.
Yeah. Wonderful. I love it, love it, love it. Well, tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Yes, you can get in touch with me. My cell, text is the best way to reach me because phone's always ringing 443-780-6994. So send me a text, or you can also email me. So talk to me as a human being. I'm going to give you my human being email, not my customer email. It's cafe33llc@gmail.com. And you can also find me, Samuel Knight, on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Sam, you've been amazing. I'm so glad social media brought us together. And it's been 3 years now. And you've
It's
come to Houston a couple times. And yeah, it's been 3 years. And now I know it seems a lot longer because we're like brother and sister.
it feels shorter to me.
It feels shorter to you?
It feel like it's only been like a year and a half, 3 years. Wow.
Yeah, well, what is this, 25?
That's true.
And so I think it is because you came to two of my events. You've
Yep.
come to two of them. You came to one in 23. So maybe we met in early 23. Anyway, you've been amazing. I love you. I'm so happy to see you grow. I like to say people enter my community as caterpillars and they leave as butterflies. And I see that transformation in you drastically. So. Thank you so much. This is Toni Harris Taylor saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And we will see you next time with another amazing author. Bye.
Appreciate it.
Drastic, so yeah, we don't